Welcome. Welcome. Today we are talking about listening in conflict, where we explore the vital skills of communication, especially during times of disagreement. I am Shirley Farrar, and this is Encouragement on Fire. Welcome to the space. We're going to discuss techniques that can not only help us stay calm during emotional moments, but also turn conflict into understanding. So, conflict is a natural part of human interaction, whether in personal relationships, like marriages or friendships, at work, or within our communities. We encounter disagreements all of the time. But what defines us in this moment, in every moment, is how we choose to respond. How have you been responding up to now? So let's start with our first point: staying calm when emotions arise. I'm telling you, this is something that I am constantly working on. So, when tensions escalate, our emotions can cloud our judgment and lead to reactive behavior. It's crucial to recognize our emotional state and take a step back. How many of you had an opportunity, maybe previously, you were in a moment and you knew, I have to pause, I need to take a step back. It's human. So in Proverbs 15:1, this is a wonderful passage. It tells us a gentle answer turns away wrath. Now, a lot of times we want a huge story about what do I need to do in the middle of these situations. Well, today I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, a couple of points. But at the same time, I want us to really stand on Proverbs 15:1. A gentle answer turning away wrath. How many times have you had an opportunity with your friends? I don't want to talk to them about this. A gentle answer turns away wrath. Or maybe in a relationship, a husband and wife, and you've gone through situation after situation. I can't talk to this person. I can't talk to him. I can't talk to her. A gentle answer turns away wrath. This verse encourages us to respond with gentleness rather than allowing anger to take control of us. Oh, so how many of us this week will be thinking about this, right? So, in practice, this might mean, you know, taking a deep breath before reacting. So, when you're in the situation, taking a deep breath, stopping, and if you feel your heart racing or your palms getting sweaty, that's a signal to pause immediately. Just stop. And in a moment of silence, just shift your approach. It will give you the space to respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. Consider this example. Imagine you're in a heated discussion with a colleague, right? A spouse, a friend. It could be about a project, it could be about going somewhere, going to on vacation. Instead of letting frustration take over, you can choose to stay calm and remind yourself of that gentle answer. This simple act can significantly affect the tone of the conversation. Now, let's move to our second point: reflecting back what you hear before responding. I tell my students to do this if they are having anxiety when they're interviewing. Reflective listening is a powerful tool. It involves restating what the other person has said to demonstrate understanding. For instance, if someone expresses frustration about a decision that you made, you might say, I hear you saying that you feel left out of the decision making process. Is that correct? This approach not only shows that you're paying attention, but also gives the speaker a chance to clarify any misunderstandings before you respond. It shifts the focus from defending yourself to genuinely engaging with the other person's perspective. How many of us have given respect on both ends? I think we all need to practice it. Engaging in reflective listening can de escalate a situation and foster an environment of mutual respect. When people feel heard, they are more likely to be open to hearing your perspective as well. The third point that I'd like to make is avoiding defensive listening. When we feel attacked or criticized, come on, we've all been there. Let's not act like we are any different than another person. One's instinct can be to defend oneself or counterattack. However, this often leads to more conflict and less resolution. What is our objective? Resolution. To avoid defensive listening, try to approach the conversation with curiosity rather than contempt. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of immediately jumping to your own defense. This can be difficult. I know. And it may need you and I both to practice. I include us in this. It's inclusive environment. We all are human and we must practice. Again, Proverbs 15:1 says what? A gentle answer turns away wrath. A gentle spirit listens more than it fights and seeks to find common ground rather than simply proving a point. Remember, it's essential to separate the message from the delivery. The feelings you may have about how something is said can cloud the actual content of the message. Focus on the substance. This will allow you to engage constructively instead of letting emotions run high. Our final point, turning conflict into understanding. The goal of any conflict should not be to win the argument, but to cultivate understanding and growth. When you listen actively and empathetically, you create an opportunity to find common ground. Isn't that what we're all after? Common ground. When disagreements arise, consider asking open ended questions like, can you tell me more about how you see this? Or you might say, what do you think would make this situation better? These types of inquiries can transfer a combative exchange into a collaborative discussion, fostering potential solutions and a shared vision. Conflict. When approached with the right mindset, if approached correctly, it can be a catalyst for change. It can highlight areas where we need to grow and we need to adapt. How many of you may need to grow? I know in my life, there is always room for growth, and I welcome it. Now let's put all of this learning into practice. As an exercise this week, you knew I was going there. The next time you find yourself in a disagreement, and you might, I challenge you to repeat back to the other person's point before sharing your point of view. This not only confirms your understanding, but also shows respect for their perspective. For example, if someone says, I feel overwhelmed by the deadlines, you might respond, so it sounds like you're feeling pressured by the timelines we've set. Only after they confirm or clarify should you share your thoughts. Remember, we talked about the good pause? This practice can lead to a more productive and less confrontational dialogue. So, to sum up, listening during conflict, it involves staying calm, reflecting back what you hear, avoiding defensiveness, and turning conflict into understanding. As we navigate disagreements in our lives, let's remember Proverbs 15:1. A gentle answer turns away wrath. Thank you for joining me today to discuss active listening, and conflict. I hope you found these insights helpful and that you feel inspired to implement them in your conversations this week. Remember, we all have the potential to foster understanding and connection, even in the midst of disagreement. So until next time, keep these principles close to your heart and let them guide your conversations with grace and with wisdom. This podcast is about defeating cancer, sickness, and disease in every part of our lives, whether it's family, our work, our community, our relationships. All of these can bring stress and anxiety, which brings on sickness and disease. So we are attempting all the time to de-escalate, to figure out techniques and tools to help you have less anxiety, to have a more resolve in your relationships. So let's work together and see how, in every situation in our lives, we can apply what is needed to live happier and more fulfilled lives. Remember, listening is one of the greatest gifts we can give to one another. I'm Shirley Farrar, and this has been Encouragement and Fun. Activities.